$742,000 to babysit servers that practically run themselves. Marcus Chen's voice sliced through the open floor plan like a knife through silk. He wasn't trying to be quiet. He wanted everyone to hear this, especially me. I was standing near the coffee station, about 40 feet away, holding a ceramic mug that had gone cold 15 minutes ago. The WeWork-style office layout meant there were no real walls, just glass partitions and the illusion of privacy. I could see everything happening in the corner conference pod. Marcus was 29 years old, wearing a black turtleneck that he probably thought made him look like Steve Jobs, but actually made him look like every other tech bro who'd watched too many TED Talks. His presentation was on the large monitor behind him, showing my compensation package highlighted in aggressive yellow. $742,000, plus equity vesting schedules spanning 17 years, plus performance bonuses tied to system uptime and client retention metrics. My name is Jordan Hayes. I'm the principal systems architect at Nextech Cloud Solutions, a cloud infrastructure and security platform serving enterprise clients across North America. Or at least, I was. The title sounds impressive until you realize what it actually means. I'm the person who built the entire back-end infrastructure that runs this company. Every server configuration, every security protocol, every disaster recovery system, every single line of legacy code that holds this $70 million operation together. I'm the reason we survived 3 major DDoS attacks without losing a single client. I'm the reason our uptime is 99.997% when the industry standard is 99.9. I'm the reason we passed our SOC2 Type 2 audit on the first try. But to Marcus Chen, newly appointed VP of Engineering Operations, I was just an expensive line item that could be replaced with offshore contractors and automation scripts. Marcus arrived 8 weeks ago from a failed startup in San Francisco. His LinkedIn said he scaled engineering teams through strategic resource optimization, which translated from startup speak meant fired expensive engineers and replaced them with cheaper ones. He came in with ideas, big ideas, revolutionary ideas about how legacy tech companies like ours were hemorrhaging capital on outdated talent. His first week, he fired 2 senior developers who'd been with the company for 12 years combined, not because they were bad at their jobs, but because he wanted to establish operational authority. His second week, he presented a deck to the C-suite called Engineering Efficiency Through Modern Resource Allocation. Slide 7 had my face on it, my salary in large numbers. The caption underneath, Legacy Infrastructure Bloat. I wasn't in that meeting, but Rebecca Park from DevOps forwarded me the presentation deck with a subject line that just said, heads up, and a skull emoji. I read through it that night at home, sitting at my kitchen table with a beer I didn't finish. Marcus's plan was elegant in its stupidity. Replace the entire infrastructure team with a combination of managed services, overseas contractors, and AI-assisted automation. Projected annual savings, $3.8 million. Implementation timeline 90 days. Risk assessment minimal. That last part made me actually laugh out loud. See, here's what Marcus didn't understand about enterprise infrastructure. It's not about running servers. It's about knowing which server crashes at exactly 3 a.m. on the second Tuesday of every month and why. It's about understanding that the authentication system has a weird dependency on a deprecated library that can't be upgraded without breaking 12 other services. It's about institutional knowledge. When a Fortune 500 client calls at midnight because their entire operation is down and they're losing 6 figures per hour, they don't want to talk to a chatbot. They want to talk to me because I know their custom configuration, their quirks, their workarounds, and exactly which commands to run in which order to bring everything back online in under 4 minutes. I sent Marcus an email, professional, detailed, thoroughly documented. I explained the key personnel clause in my employment contract. I explained that our 3 largest enterprise clients had specific service-level agreements requiring named senior architects to remain on staff. I explained that if I left without proper knowledge transfer, which was defined in those SLA contracts as 180 days minimum. Those clients had the right to terminate without penalty. I attached the relevant contract sections. I highlighted the potential revenue exposure. I estimated the at-risk annual recurring revenue at approximately $9.2 million. I sent it to Marcus, our CTO, Priya Sharma, and legal. Marcus responded in 31 minutes. Jordan, I appreciate the heads up, but we're moving forward with restructuring. Your role will be transitioned as part of the Engineering Optimization Initiative. We'll coordinate transition details at the appropriate time. MC, like he was scheduling a stand-up meeting, not gambling with the company's entire revenue stream. I forwarded his email to my personal account. I printed a physical copy. Then I called my lawyer, a man named Vincent Torres, who specialized in tech employment contracts and had a reputation for being absolutely vicious when companies tried to screw over engineers. Read Article 9, Section 4, subsection C. I told him, and tell me what happens if I resign effective immediately versus if they terminate me. Vincent was quiet for maybe 20 seconds. Then he said 5 words I'll never forget. Holy hell, they're so screwed. Before I explain how Marcus Chen's career went from meteoric rise to catastrophic crater, hit that subscribe button and upvote this post. You're going to want witnesses for this absolutely spectacular tech industry implosion. Thanks. Now back to Marcus, who was currently sitting in his Herman Miller chair, completely unaware he'd just armed a digital time bomb. The meeting was scheduled for a Thursday afternoon, 3 p.m. in the small conference room, the one with the whiteboard that still had sprint planning notes from 2 months ago. Meeting invite subject line, Organization Transition Discussion, Jordan Hayes. No agenda attached, no context, just me, Marcus, Priya, and someone from HR I'd never seen before, which meant they'd brought in a contractor who specialized in terminations. I showed up wearing jeans and a hoodie, same as every other day. I carried my laptop bag with nothing in it except my personal laptop. Everything important was already gone from my work machine, transferred to encrypted drives at home 3 days ago. I arrived exactly on time. Marcus was already there, sitting at the head of the table with his MacBook Pro covered in startup stickers. Priya sat to his right, her expression carefully neutral in that way CTOs learn when they're about to let someone go for budget reasons. The HR contractor sat alone on the left side, folder closed, hands folded, face arranged into professional sympathy. I took the seat across from Marcus, set my empty laptop bag down, folded my hands on the table, waited. Marcus cleared his throat like he was giving a product demo. Jordan, thanks for making time, he said, like this was optional. We want to discuss the future direction of infrastructure and your position within the new organizational structure. You mean my soon-to-be non-existent position, I said calmly. He blinked twice. I wouldn't characterize it that way. How would you characterize it? We're modernizing our engineering operations to align with industry best practices for distributed teams and managed service providers. Your current role, as structured, doesn't fit within that new model. So you're eliminating my position. We're restructuring infrastructure, he corrected. But we're prepared to offer you a generous severance package, 4 months' salary, benefits continuation through the end of the quarter, and strong references. A 4 months' salary. For 17 years of building this company's entire technical foundation, for being on call every weekend for the last decade, for knowing every single system, every failure point, every recovery procedure. That's very generous, I said flatly. Marcus smiled like he'd already won. We think it's fair, and we want to work with you on a knowledge transfer timeline that works for everyone. I opened my laptop bag, pulled out a single sheet of paper I'd printed that morning, my resignation letter, 3 sentences, effective immediately. I slid it across the table. I don't think knowledge transfer will be necessary, I said. Marcus picked up the letter. Read it once. Read it again. His smile disappeared. You're resigning. His voice went up half an octave. Effective immediately. I'll return my access badge and work laptop to security on my way out. I assume you'll want to revoke my system access right away. Priya leaned forward, her first movement since I'd entered the room. Jordan, I don't think you understand the situation. If you resign instead of accepting the package, you forfeit the severance. You get nothing. I looked at her for a long moment. We'd worked together for 9 years. She knew exactly what I'd built. She knew exactly what was about to happen. I'll get exactly what my contract stipulates, I said, which is substantially more than 4 months' salary to my... Marcus's face was changing color. What contract stipulations? Article 9, Section 4, subsection C of my employment agreement, the Critical Personnel Protection Clause. I sent you both a detailed email about this 18 days ago. I'm assuming you didn't read it. Silence. Let me summarize, I continued. If I'm terminated, I get your 4-month severance. But if I resign due to constructive termination, which includes elimination of my position or material reduction in my responsibilities, all deferred equity immediately accelerates and becomes exercisable within 30 days. I paused. That's 17 years of stock options, performance shares, restricted stock units. The entire retention package designed to keep founding engineers from leaving during the Series A through C funding rounds. Marcus's hands were gripping the edge of the table. Additionally, I continued, my resignation triggers client notification requirements. Our 3 largest enterprise customers, representing approximately $9.2 million in annual recurring revenue, have service-level agreements requiring continuity of named senior infrastructure personnel. If I leave without a minimum 180-day transition with an equally qualified replacement, they have the right to terminate their contracts without early termination fees. The HR contractor made a small choking sound. The total value of my accelerated equity package, at current valuation, is approximately $8.6 million, I said, keeping my voice level. Exercisable within 30 days of resignation. And if the company fails to honor the exercise window, the penalty clause adds an additional 40% plus legal fees. I stood up. I've already sent courtesy notifications to the 3 affected enterprise clients, as required by my professional obligation as their named architect. I estimate you have roughly 48 hours before they start asking serious questions about service continuity. My attorney is Vincent Torres at Torres & Huang. Have your general counsel contact him about the equity settlement. I'll need the exercise paperwork within 30 days, or we're filing for the penalty clause. I walked to the door, then turned back. Oh, and Marcus. That email I sent 18 days ago, I copied general counsel and the board. So they knew. They knew exactly what would happen if you pushed this through. You might want to ask Priya why nobody warned you. I walked out. My heart was hammering, but my hands were steady. 17 years in tech teaches you that the best revenge executes automatically, like a well-written script. Security was professional when I handed over my badge and work laptop. The guard I'd fist-bumped every morning for 13 years looked genuinely sad. I walked out of the building at 3:42 p.m. The afternoon sun was bright, and the parking lot smelled like hot asphalt and freedom. By 6 p.m., I had 5 voicemails from Marcus. By 7 p.m., Priya had called 3 times. By 8 p.m., someone from legal had left 2 messages. I didn't return any of them. Monday morning, Vincent called. They want to negotiate, ma'am, he said. They're claiming the SLA language doesn't specifically require you personally, just senior infrastructure personnel of equivalent experience. That's interesting, I said. Because all 3 SLAs list me by name. It was a specific requirement from the clients during contract negotiations. It's in the original deal memos. I know, Vincent said, and I could hear the grin in his voice. I pulled the files Friday afternoon, every single SLA, every deal memo. Your name is all over them. They have 0 leverage. So what do they want? They want 90 days to process the equity exercise instead of 30. No. Jordan. They're going to argue that Vincent. The contract says 30 days. If they want to argue, we go to arbitration, and the penalty clause kicks in. The total goes from $8.6 million to $12.04 million. Do they really want to gamble on that? Silence. I'll inform them we're insisting on full contract compliance. Tuesday morning, the first client sent their termination notice. Data Corp Financial, $3.1 million in ARR. They exercised their right to terminate without penalty based on departure of named senior infrastructure personnel without adequate transition. Wednesday morning, client number 2 sent notice. MediHealth Systems, $2.8 million in ARR. Thursday afternoon, the third client, Retail Giant International, was on a call with executive leadership, making it very clear that unless there was an immediate solution to the infrastructure continuity situation, they would also be exercising their termination rights. That's when Marcus called my cell phone directly. I let it ring 6 times before answering. Jordan. And his voice was ragged. We need to talk. My attorney is handling all communication, I said pleasantly. Please. This is spiraling out of control. The clients are threatening to walk on $9 million in ARR. The board is demanding answers. Priya is having a complete meltdown. You have to help us fix this. I don't have to do anything. Marcus, I resigned. You eliminated my position because overseas contractors and managed services could do my job for a fraction of the cost. So go ahead. Use them. Jordan, please. You know what's really funny? I interrupted. If you'd just left me alone, none of this would be happening. If you'd read my email, if you'd talked to legal, if you'd understood that infrastructure isn't just about running servers, it's about relationships and knowledge and trust, you could have restructured around me. You could have automated the commodity work and kept me for the strategic stuff. You could have saved money and kept the clients happy. I know. I screwed up. I'm sorry. What can I do? Honor my contract, all of it. Exercise paperwork within 30 days, not a day late, and pray you can convince those clients to stay. And if we do, will you help with transition? Will you talk to the clients? I let the silence stretch. No, I said finally. I already accepted a position at Cloudscale Security. They're smaller, but they actually value infrastructure expertise. And they're very interested in talking to enterprise clients who might be looking for a new provider with better service continuity. I could hear his breathing. You're going to steal our clients. I'm going to provide continuity of service to clients I've supported for over a decade. Clients who know me, trust me, and specifically requested me by name in their SLAs. If they choose to move to a provider where their concerns are taken seriously, that's their business decision. I hung up. The equity exercise paperwork arrived on day 28, $8.6 million worth of shares at current valuation. After taxes and exercise costs, it was still the largest financial event of my life. Vincent sent me a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle with a note. This is what properly negotiated contracts look like. 2 weeks later, Marcus Chen was reassigned from VP of Engineering Operations to Senior Engineering Manager for a legacy product team nobody cared about. Industry translation shelved until we figure out how to fire you. Priya lasted 5 more months before pursuing new opportunities, which meant the board asked for her resignation after the client exodus and engineering team implosion. Nextech Cloud Solutions lost all 3 major enterprise clients within 4 months. Their AR dropped by 43% year over year. Their next funding round fell through when investors discovered the infrastructure crisis. Within 14 months, they were acquired by a larger cloud provider at a 67% discount to their last valuation. Most of the engineering team was laid off in the integration. As for me, I joined Cloudscale Security as VP of Infrastructure, where my experience was valued, my expertise was respected, and my contract was very, very carefully written with input from Vincent Torres. I kept Marcus's email framed on my desk. Not out of spite, but as a reminder that the most important code you write isn't in your repositories. It's in your employment contract. And every time some young VP starts talking about resource optimization and legacy bloat and eliminating expensive senior engineers, I smile and think about Marcus Chen learning the hard way that institutional knowledge isn't just about what you know, it's about what you know that nobody else remembered to document. Thanks for watching, you brilliant architects of chaos. Hit that subscribe button, or your next deploy is going straight to production on a Friday afternoon.